Down! Down! Down!
Fake records.
So, therefore, I want to focus on the youth. The central theme of this report is that too many urban youth are now living in a situation where chaos reigns. We're living in an age of chaos. And chaos has now become a form of warfare. Too many of our youth are living in chaos, be it actual physical chaos where their lives are in danger, or mental chaos. The anxieties that your parents feel have been there are hyper anxieties by the time it comes to you because the stakes are so much higher. The central theme of this report is that this chaos is the result of deliberate strategies planned for we and our youth to live in. So therefore it's planned chaos, organized confusion, as they would put on that poster. You've seen that poster. Every successful generation throughout history, every successful generation throughout history has made a transfer of power from the old to the young. Therefore, to those civil rights leaders who would want to perpetuate their failed leadership and mislead our community through tactics that they think they got victories in the 1960s, to those civil rights leaders, all I can say is just be prepared to be stepped over. Right. Albert Einstein, perhaps the second smartest man of this century. They seem to overlook Sheikh Diop. That's their name. Don't worry about that. It's you and I tasked to remember Sheikh Diop is the documented smartest man of this 20th century. Their 20th century. You remember, your calendar is 6,238 years old. Right. So when they get prepared to get all drunk and hype up, to drink more alcohol and act more perverted and deviant, when their year 2000 comes up, allow them. Let them be happy. You were happy when you went into your third millennia, 4,000 years ago. So, Albert Einstein, I got to give props where props is due, and he was no ignorant man. Albert Einstein said this, and I have to quote him. He said, insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results. We look to the urban youth. You are the vital part of our community. We look to you for your new ideas, because new ideas will lead to new actions. The new actions should come up with new results. And we need some new results. So, urban youth, you are the stars of the community, and we salute you. Let's go forward. Now, we're going to be talking about a lot of key critical issues. I hope everybody can see these real good. Some of these are going to be kind of somewhat detailed. Let me pull this back just a little bit. Now, what I'm going to talk about tonight, some of it will be coming from my personal, but very largely I'm going to stick to extensive documentation. Because you don't need somebody else talking about rumors, etc., etc. That should be good right there. Can everybody see that? Let me get that as tight as I can. We're going to show you, I'm going to do a lot of what Brother Steve Copley says, quote from good white sources, because many times, and I know this doesn't apply in this room because my vision is clearer than that, but many times those African Americans need you to quote white folks before they'll believe you. That's right. I come up with some of the most controversial research you can imagine, but I have to quote the white folks to get the African Americans to take me seriously. And the white folks go way out of their way to poke their camera through the window, put the microphone on to spy on us, to hear what we have to say. What is it with these African Americans? So let's go forward. We're going to quote first from this group, the Council on Foreign Relations, that august body, that think tank, which advises this country on matters foreign and domestic, the Council on Foreign Relations, from their issue. of their magazine, which is entitled Foreign Affairs, the fall issue 1990. This article is entitled Winds of Change, which looked at America and said, what is America going to be like in the coming decade? Quote, thus, for example, breaking up the ghetto culture of defiance that unfits so many black youth for peaceable participation in civil society may be eminently desirable. And so therefore, and of course I always try, we're talking about propaganda, words and images used to change people's behavior. So I always try to find the appropriate image to fit the dialogue. And so we have this image which is appropriated from this group, from this madman, this certified lunatic, Brad Jordan. You may know him as Scarface, who says these ghetto boys would fulfill this destiny by being in this position. We have to watch some of these madmen. Some of them we have to watch especially hard. I spent a lot of time over the past decade or so dealing with the issue of mind control, etc., etc. Oh, let me give you some more quotes. Let's quote from the white folks for a while. They can't be here tonight, so let's let them speak. This is a Norwegian researcher by the name of Gunnar Myrdal, wrote a seminal book entitled An American Dilemma, The Negro Problem and Modern Democracy. This book was originally written in 1944. He was a Norwegian economics researcher, and he was asked to take a look at the state of race relationships in America. I don't blame him. I think he was accurate. I'm just glad he wrote it down and put it in a book. That's right. He said this about his American cousins. He said, there is no doubt that the overwhelming majority of white Americans desire that there be as few Negroes as possible in America. If the Negroes could be eliminated from America or greatly decreased in numbers, this would meet the whites' approval, provided that it could be accomplished by means which are also approved. And I use that quote on the front of this book called Prisons, the Lockdown of Black America's Future. By means which are also approved. You know what I'm saying? But he says further, popular theories on the growth of the Negro population in America have been diverse. At times it has been claimed that Negroes, quote, breed like rabbits, and that they will ultimately crowd out the whites if they are not deported or their procreation restricted. At other times it has been pronounced that they are a dying race, bound to lose out in the struggle for survival. He says it's either or. Well, I say, if I have any decision, I'm not going to be no dying race. In fact, no, we don't die. We just multiply. Foreign Affairs magazine, once again, we're going to go to the summer 1993 issue, and a man named Samuel P. Huntington, very key and critical writer, Samuel Huntington. We have to pay attention to him. It's largely due to Samuel P. Huntington that black students have been disappearing from college campuses because he wrote a paper about 1976 that said inviting so many blacks into the higher education system ultimately will be the downfall of white people in America. And now they're reversing that position, that process. But he says this, and this is absolutely key and critical. We've got to understand this. This comes back to my statement earlier about how important culture is. He says, civilization identity will be increasingly important in the future. And the world will be shaped in large measure by the interactions among 7 or 8 major civilizations. These include Western, Confucian, Japanese, Islamic, Hindu, Slavic Orthodox, Latin American, and possibly African civilization. The most important conflicts of the future will occur along the cultural fault line, separating these civilizations from...